Welcome to this 20-minute yoga practice focusing on full body strength. Broken up into 6 segments, we will experience most parts 2 times each. With the goal of acknowledging most of our body while on our mats today, this class was inspired by the quote, "Yoga does not just change the way we see things, it transforms the person who sees." I encourage you to reflect on how your thoughts and body show up for today's class and how through breath and mindset we can transform on our mats. And maybe, just maybe, how that same transformation is possible off of our mats as well. Getting started here on our mats, I invite you down to a comfortable position on your back. Like we do in most classes, these first few moments are to establish a connection to breath. Finding a shape that feels effortless within you, maybe hands onto your stomach so that as breath comes and goes with a bit more intention, you can feel the physical response of the lifting and lowering of the hands. With eyes dialed down or shut, we shift to a rhythm of breathing that comes and goes through the nose, establishing a sense of presence to this moment. A deepening of our breath, allow a calming sensation to wash over you. As we look for 2 final breaths before we start to move, allow these ones to be as full and deep as possible. Once those are complete within you, gently wiggle in the fingers and toes, maybe stretch yourself into a long line before we start to warm ourselves up. With an inhale breath, bring both feet as high towards the sky as you can, straightening into the legs. We're coming first into some core strength. Lower the right leg down, look towards it, reach the hands towards the feet, and maybe you start to flutter. Keeping the left leg high and towards the sky, feeling an activation in the core. Remember to breathe for one more inhale, one more exhale, and then we shift. Switching to the other leg, right leg high, left leg low, still looking and reaching towards the foot, palms facing down, maybe the arms are fluttering. For one more breath, before releasing the soles of your feet down, shoulders onto the mat, where you drop both knees towards the right side, landing in a gentle release for the low back, glutes, and midsection. You can stay here with stillness, or if you prefer to move, shifting the legs from side to side like windshield wipers. If you've been holding still on the right, with your next inhale, bring the knees back to center, and use an exhale breath to lower them to the left. Find those slow rhythms of inhales and exhales to soften you wherever possible. Dropping the knees closer to the earth, feel a release for one more breath out. Using an inhale to come back to center, where we come into our 3rd and final pose in this sequence. Lifting your hips into bridge, maybe you interlace the fingers underneath the small of your back, engaging in the glutes and the core to ensure a sense of strength within your midsection and no discomfort in the low spine. Check in that you are supported by your shoulders, not your neck, and take a couple more rounds of inhales and exhales held with strength in this pose. Eventually, a breath out will lower you back down, feet towards the sky. We scissor and hold once again. Lowering the right leg down, arms reach, maybe you pulse. Our 2nd and final visit here, how fully can you engage in all muscles? Take one more breath, and then exhale to switch. Right leg high, left leg lowers. Keep gazing towards your intentional, long lowered leg. Feel the abdominals working for you here for one more breath in. Exhaling to release. Shoulders to the earth, knees bent, dropping the knees to the right side, where either you hold for a few rounds of breath or allow yourself some movement with every inhale and exhale, shifting knees from right to left like windshield wipers. If you've been holding on the right, with your next inhale, draw the knees to center, and exhale to lower them to the left. Using your next breath in, we return to our second and final visit to bridge, this time holding for twice as long as we did last round. Engaging in the glutes, the thighs, strong in the core, and supported by the shoulders. Think about pushing the earth away and feeling a sense of energy between the legs, not allowing them to touch, but actively drawing them into one another. Remember to breathe here, to hold strong, to fire up wherever possible, and soften in muscles not required to keep you in this shape. Incredible work using your next exhale to lower down, and then deciding how you would like to make your way to a forward fold. Maybe you rock and roll forwards and backwards, or perhaps you take it slow, transitioning to a tabletop first, before landing feet hip distance apart, head really low, generously feeling a stretch in the vertebrae and down the back sides of the legs. From here, we start to build part 2. Lunging our left foot back, I invite you into Warrior 2. You can choose to find the conventional form of Warrior 2, or with me here as I demonstrate, flip the front palm and reverse. If reversing, feeling a long stretch down the right side body, staying deep into that right leg, engaging in both feet, actively pushing the earth away, and of course, remembering to breathe. From wherever you've been, I invite you to reach yourself forward as if coming to extended side angle, but today with zero support from the arms. Palms face into one another, engaging in your core, still strong in your legs. Take one more breath, and then transition your way into goddess pose. Heel-toeing your feet so that your ankles land below your knees. Your tailbone rounds under, spine is long, and both legs actively working to keep you in this very intentional and deep pose. Next up, we transition to Warrior 2, this time left leg forward. So to the back of your mat, option to stay in the conventional form or transition into your reverse. From your reverse warrior, like we did on the other side, hinge forward into our non-supported extended side angle. Stay deep into your legs. Remember to breathe. And then with your next exhale, bring your hands down to frame your left foot, step to the back of your mat, which is now, of course, your top. Find a forward fold, release, shimmy, and shake yourself out. From here, we find that same sequence starting again, but this time on the left. Left foot stays forward, right foot lunges back. We were just here into Warrior 2, or perhaps reversing. How can you find yourself smoothly sinking deeper into this pose? Where can your breath support you? From your reverse warrior, allow the arms to extend ahead, like you were holding a generous, maybe heavy object ahead of you. Use your core and midsection to stay strong and long. With your next inhale, transition your way to goddess pose. Sinking as deeply as you can you bring your hips parallel to your knees? Maybe choosing cactus arms for this round, or if it felt better, hands to your hips. One more generous inhale. As you next exhale, transitioning your way to Warrior 2, back towards the front. Right leg is forward, perhaps right away reversing, pulling the right arm behind you, gazing high, feeling the stretch into your right side. With an exhale, extending yourself forward, really reaching ahead. the base of this pose has stayed the same for a while, feel that activation and work in the legs as you call on your mid-body to hold you here for one more full breath. Exhaling to draw the hands down to frame the front foot, we come into our plank position. You can stay here in high plank or lower to your forearms. This brings us into our second sequence. Holding here nice and strong in some variation of plank, remember to breathe, align the hips and shoulders, activate the core. From here, with an inhale, making your way to downward facing dog. In this upside down V shape, today I encourage you to allow a long, generous stretch down the back sides of your legs. You can pedal out and find movement or focus on drawing the heels low. Take one more inhale, one more exhale, and then shift yourself forward into a plank. Our second and final visit here, it can be on forearms or high. Wherever you are, see where you can turn on the muscles to keep you holding and breathing. Fire up in the legs and in your core. One more inhale, exhaling, downward facing dog. Amazing work. Using this pose for activation and strength, and most importantly, a little bit of stretch. Notice the back sides of your legs as we take one more breath here before we start to play with a bit of balance. Walking your way to the middle of your mat, find a hip distance stance and then take as long as you wish to rock out to rebound before gently and slowly coming up all the way to a vertical long line. We'll begin here with the right foot grounded, starting to lift into the left leg. Option 1 is to interlace the fingers onto the top of the shin, draw the knee into the chest. This is a beautiful place to stay. If looking for more strength and length into your legs, consider extending your left leg long. Hold on wherever it feels comfortable. Try to straighten in the spine in both of your limbs, and remember to breathe. From wherever you are, take one more inhale. Exhale to release out. Coming back to our stand, we begin to stabilize into the left foot, lifting the right knee into the chest. You can hold here with this bent leg squeezed in towards your torso, or begin to extend the right leg long. Maybe you reach for the foot, perhaps you hold on to the big toe, or rest your hand behind the calf muscle for support. There is no right or wrong way to find this pose. We are looking for strength in balance and length. With your next exhale, release from wherever you've been, shake it out. We come into our balance once again right away. Left leg lifts, right leg is low. Choosing whatever feels best in your body, learning from your first visit, how can you incorporate slower breath? How can you grow bigger? Where can you call on your muscles with a little bit more intention? Amazing work. With an exhale, release, and we switch sides. Left foot is low, right leg in towards the stomach, either knee bent or leg long. Choosing a clasp that feels best in your body. Giving yourself permission to be curious and to explore this shape. With an exhale breath, releasing out of whatever form you have found yourself in. And then very gently making your way down to a seat where we set up for our next sequence. 2 poses here, starting in our static boat. Lifting the feet, perhaps lifting the arms, draw the shoulders back, and connect to your slowest, fullest breath. Do your best to engage in the abdominal muscles. Try to rest easy into the shoulders. Taking one more inhale before gently exhaling onto your back, where we begin to set up for our shoulder stand. Really important here that our weight is supported by our shoulders, not our neck. From a waterfall-like position, we engage the core and lift the legs high, pointing into the feet. Hands are to the small of your back for support. Elbows down on the mat to have a point of contact. This is about exploring and being curious this first round. How does this pose feel? Take one more inhale, and then very slowly with control, come out of the posture, pop yourself into boat. Our second and final visit here. If you want to intensify, you can straighten the legs. Remember to breathe deeply for one more inhale, one more exhale, before making your way to our second and final visit to shoulder stand. Looking to lift your hips a little bit higher this round. Engage in the core, activate in the glutes and thighs. Amazing work. Coming out of the pose you've just been in, take a moment to reflect, draw the knees in towards the chest, and take a couple deep rounds of breath. As we ease out of the more active components of our practice, we're coming into 2 deep stretches, starting here first with Happy Baby. If this pose doesn't serve you today, give yourself permission to adjust into something different. But if coming into this posture with me, check that your tailbone is as grounded as can be, that shoulders are resting on the mat, and that you found a shape that allows the shins to be as perpendicular to the ground and parallel to each other. From wherever you are, you can decide to stay or come into a twist next. Extending the left leg long, take a moment to prepare into the right hip. It's close to the body before sending it over towards the left side. Using your left hand for a bit of guidance, allow your low back and glutes to be off the earth while the chest and shoulders stay grounded and square. If you've been twisting, coming out of this first side and switching on to the left. Right leg is long. Take a moment to prepare the left hip. With a bent knee, use your right hand to guide the left leg over towards the right. Taking one more inhale wherever you are, very gently and softly exhaling to release yourself out. From here, we come into a moment or 2 of rest. This could be a conventional shape of Shavasana for you today, or perhaps you mix it up with a bit of support or form that may not look like I am demonstrating on the screen, but feels really comfortable for you. Allow your eyes to close down, stillness to wash over you, and your breath to be the anchor that keeps you here. Very gently and slowly begin to draw awareness back to your body, back to your surroundings. Start to wiggle and move, deciding how you would like to make your way up to a seated posture. Perhaps a moment of reflection on your side feels best. Taking your time to very gently come upright, perhaps with eyes closed, to continue feeling every sensation within you. Once you find yourself tall in a comfortable seat, I invite you to place palms in front of heart center, pressing into one another. Yoga does not just change the way we see things, it transforms the person who sees. Namaste. Thanking you so much for your time and practice today. Looking forward to seeing you again really soon.